guys, I am here today with my sweet little dog lady, and I am going to tell you what my top 10 favorite Netflix shows are. This video might be a little long because I'm going to tell you kind of a little bit about what they're about. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So these shows aren't in any particular order of which one is my favorite, but I'm just going to go ahead and get started with whichever ones came to mind first. And the first one is a show called Revenge, and I've got my iPad sitting in my lap. If you see me looking down, that's what I'm referencing. So it's basically about a girl who lived in the Hamptons growing up, and some things went wrong in her life and some bad things happened, and she ended up growing up and moving away and decided to move back as an adult. No one who knew who she was because she was an adult now and she was a kid when she lived there before, and seek revenge on the people that ruined her life, basically. And then it kind of goes from there, but they don't know who she is. They don't realize it's this little girl that lived there 20 years ago or anything like that. So it is really good, and it's kind of a drama. I told my mom about it and she started watching it and she got hooked. My second favorite is Rain. It's not Rain from the Sky, but Reign, like R-E-I-G-N, and it's about Queen Mary of Scotland, and she ends up moving to France to get married to the Prince of France, Francis, and it's kind of about them, you know, they don't really know each other that well when they start the relationship, but they know they're going to end up getting married, and it's kind of about them growing, and then some things happen and there's some tragedy and she kind of gets knocked down and she gets back up, and it's just really fun to follow along with this strong female role that's set back in the 1800s. My next favorite is Army Wives, and I watched this probably a few years ago, and I want to go back and watch it again. I like to watch shows and then go back a few years later and watch them again. But this show is set in South Carolina, so it's kind of got the southern feel, and it is about a group of wives on an army base, and they all become friends, and their husbands get deployed and their sons get deployed, and they're just very all involved in the military, and it's about their struggles through living the military lifestyle, and their heartaches and their heartbreaks and all of that kind of things. And it's especially if you are married to someone in the military, or if you are Army brat, or you're someone that you love has been in the military, I think that it would be a fun show to watch. Or even if you haven't, it'd still be a fun show to watch. My next favorite is Lost. This is another one I want to go back and rewatch, but a lot of people have heard of this, and I really didn't want to watch it. I didn't watch it when it was first coming out. I rewatched it a few years later, and it is about a flight that crashes on a deserted island, and not very many people survive, but they don't have a way to get off the island, and they start finding out secrets and weird things about the island that just didn't add up and didn't make sense, and it goes so much farther than you'd ever expect for it to, and it's just this crazy maze of things that happen, and you get attached to all the characters, and then things happen to them, and then it's so good. My next favorite is called How to Get Away with Murder, and this is one that I'm pretty sure that they haven't finished the show completely, and but I'm watching it on Netflix. I'm not up to date on the new ones, but it's about a law professor, and she also has a private practice, and some of her best and brightest students, she has them come and help her in her practice with the cases that she's doing, and basically they all get tied up in this web of lies and secrets, and they do things that they could all get in trouble for, and so it's, are you gonna tell on me? And it's called How to Get Away with Murder. And it's really, really good. And this is another one that I told my mom about, and she started watching it and she's hooked. Orange is the New Black, which isn't, I know there's probably some people that don't really like that show, and there's other people that are completely obsessed with it. I love it. It's about an all women's prison, and kind of the relationships between the women and the different groups of women that are in the prison, and there's this group and that group, and they don't get along, and this happens, and this girl does this with this guard, and it's just kind of a fun show to watch. The Tudors, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. I really like that. It's similar to Reign. It's set back in the 1800s. This show is actually set only a little bit before the other one, and it is about King Henry and all of his wives, and kind of who he's marries, and then they die, and then he marries this person, and then this happens. And one of his wives was Anne Boleyn. I think a lot of people, that's very iconic. People know what happened to her. And I really like the shows that are set in this time. Something about that time in history is just so magical to me. And so I really enjoy watching the shows that are set in that time, and movies and things like that that are set in that time, and I really like this show. The Walking Dead, and I know a lot of people don't like this show, and for the longest time I wouldn't watch it. I was like, it's just not the kind of show that I like to watch. I'm not gonna watch it. And finally I caved. My husband was at the police academy, and so I was home alone for quite a bit of time. He was only able to come home on the weekends, and so all Monday through Friday I was home alone, and so I started watching the show and became hooked and binge watched the whole show. And it's it's about zombies, obviously. I think most people at least know that about it, but it also gets into the characters, and you get attached to characters, and they die, and they get into groups, and then the groups get separated, and do they find each other, and do they not, and did this person die, or did that person die, and you get so invested in it, and it's just so good. And I actually, my husband decided that he wanted to watch it, and so I watched it by myself up to season 6, and then went back and rewatched the whole thing with him, and we just finished season 7 like 2 days ago. So we're officially up to date with it, but it's really good, and things that you don't think will happen, and it just blows your mind. The Client List is another one that I just recently watched, and this one's kind of a little bit more risque, and so I'm gonna just read you the description. I'm going to sum it up a little bit. It is about a housewife whose husband leaves her, and then she has a bunch of financial struggles because she has 2 kids, and so she decides to take a job at a spa as a massage therapist, which is what she does for a living, and it just seems like a normal spa, but then she starts to realize that some of her co-workers are providing additional services, if you know what I mean, and so they're making a lot of money, and then she's torn morally. Do I do this? Do I not do this? I know that this is wrong, but I can afford, that kind of thing. Her husband left her, and so the show is basically about her decision that she decides, yes, I am going to provide those services to the men that come into the spa, and it's kind of about that story. And then it gets really involved, because I think anytime that kind of stuff happens, there's things that, that domino effect. So the last show, the 10th show, is one that I've also watched. So, probably about a year ago, I guess, I watched it, and it's Jane the Virgin, and I think that they might be making more of them, so I don't think I'm caught all the way up, but I've watched what is on Netflix so far. I think there's like 2 seasons on Netflix. And it is about a young girl who's in college, and she's engaged, and her life is just on the right track, and she's saving herself for marriage, and she feels really strongly about it, and it's something that she's always, knew that she wanted to do. Well, she goes to the lady doctor for a routine visit, and the doctor artificially confuses her with another patient and artificially inseminates her, and she becomes pregnant. Now she's still a virgin, so now she's a pregnant virgin, and it's just kind of a funny, goofy show. And at first I was like, I'm not gonna watch this, because it almost seemed a little bit Nickelodeon-y, kind of, if you know what I mean, like, but it's hilarious. It is such a funny show, and there's not a lot of shows that can really make me truly laugh, and this does. And it's just kind of an uplifting, funny show. And the girl goes through highs and lows because she was saving herself for marriage and she has this fiance and stuff, and now all of a sudden she's pregnant with some man's child, you know. But it's good, it's really funny, and I think that any of these shows I just told you, any 10 of them, I think there's one somewhere in the range of shows. There's something for everyone in these 10 shows. And so I hope you enjoyed hearing what my favorite 10 were. If you've got an all-time favorite that's on Netflix that I didn't mention, leave it down in the comments so that I can watch it, or maybe someone else will see that you really like that one and then they'll go watch it. So thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe down below and become a part of my YouTube family. It would mean so much to me. So thank you for watching. Have a blessed day.